I'm going to swap around. All right, we're going to be talking about momentum, drive, and ground force today. And if you're on any of the Zoom calls I've done before, we talk about in the academy, we have our foundational system. And in the foundational system is we have three components. We have arm whip to release, or unraveling to release. We had an IR, internal rotation Zoom call a couple weeks ago. If you don't have it, you can put in the chat, I'd like to receive it. And maybe Amber can put a link to it in there so you guys can receive it. That is the first component of our foundational system. The second component is sequencing, separation. And our third component is momentum and ground force training, making sure you're getting a really good launch to have the proper mechanics for all the other things that we have talked about to come to completion to get maximum power and speed. And so I'm going to go in just a few things that I like to see, and then also a few things that I see that I don't want to see. When we're talking about loading and ground force, we'll pull you a little closer. When we're talking about loading and ground force, we're talking about how you get power through your legs and using the ground. So there's, when you load, there's several ways you can load. Can you still hear me? Amber, give me that. Okay. When you're loading your legs, you want to make sure that all your weight is dropping into your toes. Both heels are over your toes. A lot of times if I turn sideways, you'll see them rock back. And then when they go forward, they're pushing their hips forward, or they're rotating their toe, they're turning their hips all the way down, and they're not getting a really good load. So one thing I start with when I'm teaching you how to present, how to get into your load, I use a PVC pipe, and I talk about how if you sit in your back leg, or you're rocking back and sitting, and then you're trying to turn, you're getting what I call this load that goes down and up. So whatever goes down is going to come up. I want them to get a load that goes back and forward like a diagonal angle, or like a cannonball coming out of a cannon. So I want to see the front leg push against the mound, and I want to see the back leg push against the back foot pushing against the floor. When you get this momentum of going back to forward, it shoots them off the mound. When they shoot them off the mound, gives them that projection that they want of being able to be pushed out as far as they can, landing further out, getting closer to the target, and it gives them this really good push. But when they don't load properly, they sit and then come up, and it causes a lot of issues from form to timing, a lot of other things. So I'm going to put you on the side so you can kind of see how I like my girls to load. Like I just said, we want to see. Y'all go ahead and mute if you can for me. All right. So when my kids are loading, what I like to do is see them to drop into their toes. Knee is over their toe, nose over the toe. I want to see that they're when they go down, that the knee is over the toe, nose is over the toe. I'll put a stick here so that they're not sitting back. Then I want to see that the weight is on the front leg, and they're using just momentum to like shift and push. So I will often get them to start in this position, push. If you don't have a ground force trainer, Clean and Heel, it's an amazing tool that you can use. I do have a discount code. It's on my Instagram. It saves you shipping, so it's really, really good. But when they go down to load, you want to see that their knee and nose gets over the toe, they sit through their back toe, it transfers energy into their front toe, and it launches them forward. So there's two ways I encourage them to get in that position. If they like to rock back, I like to get them to rock, then load when they sit. I don't like to see them load and drop their hand back. When the hand drops, I want to see that the body drops, nose over toe, knee over toe, weight shifts back. As soon as they hear that click or they feel the drop into the leg, they use ground force or energy from the ground to shoot them forward. That's the first thing. Make sure when they load and launch, they're loading with their weight in their toes, weight forward, over the front toe, nose over toe, knee over toe. From that position, the next thing you want to see is that they don't open too early. They'll lose a lot of power, number one, if they don't load correctly. Number two, they'll lose power if they rotate too quickly. There's 3 acceleration points in the pitch. The first is going to be proper load. And then from here, the hip extension throws the hand out to 3 o'clock. At this position, I'm in midair. Okay, so just pretend I'm still in midair. It's sit, push. At this point, I'm still in midair. That is the first acceleration. The hip is going to throw the hand as if I'm doing a long jump, a broad jump, whatever it is. So we want to see that their hips are not rotating, shoulders are not rotating. It's sit and go, and the hips are staying with the pole, coming straight out. From that point, we're in this position, okay? As we start to rotate, you'll see the heel is over the toe. The hip will open the shoulder. The hip will open the shoulder. It also will throw the arm around as fast as it can. Boom, here, accelerated power through the hips and trunk. It's going to throw the arm open. Now from this position, if our heel does not collapse and we're strong in our back toe and our knee is anchored into the floor, we will get that proper opening at about a 60-degree angle. And at this point, our shoulders open. Now our hip will throw our hand down. So the 3 acceleration points are getting the hip to open out, getting the hip to throw the hand around, getting the hip to powerfully close and bring the hand through. If you can get the 3 acceleration points and your momentum off the mound correct, then you're going to have maximum amount of power for your body. Will you go 60 miles an hour plus? We can usually guarantee that with separation and sequencing, proper separation and sequencing. If we can get a separation of 20% or more from hip to shoulder, and with the proper launch, we can get above 60 miles an hour. That's seen time and time again through our metrics and our numbers. But let me ask if y'all have any questions so far off this. I'm going to look in the chat. And sometimes it takes a minute for these to come through. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them.
Hey, Carrie, make sure remind everybody to mute themselves. I know we're both logged in as your name, but you are the host, so I cannot mute or unmute people. If you make me the host, I can.
Let me see. Meeting settings, mute upon entry.
Yeah, maybe select that.
Show name, participant. I don't know how to make you.
Here, I think I just did it actually.
Actually, from my phone, I don't. Okay.
I did it. We're
Okay.
good.
If y'all have any questions, put them in there. So momentum and launch. Let me get my notes. It talked about a little bit about ground force. Ground force is being able to use the ground to produce energy, stored energy, and release it through your body. So we're using that ground as kind of a rebound. What we're thinking about is just sit and go. You want to transfer energy from the back foot to the front foot. If the heel drops, you're going to see, or locks, you're going to see the energy stop. You want to make sure both knees are bent, heels are up, nose over toe, shin angle, get the knee over the toe, sit, go. We want it really, really fast. You're using the ground to force that energy out forward. The second thing that I wanted to talk about is storing and releasing energy. So your body will actually store energy and release energy through the ball. So as you work on pushing straight out, keeping the knee forward, and then getting open, you're starting to create this stretching in your core that's going to start storing energy. And as you go to turn your hip and release through your body, you're going to get released energy. So you want to make sure you have the proper trunk and chest or hip and trunk relation so that you can hold the energy, store it, and then release it. We talk a lot about that in our sequencing and separation video in the academy. So if you're in there, you can watch that. But there's ways to be able to use that energy from the ground, store it in your body, release it through your hand to create momentum. A lot of times people are just taught how to just pitch versus how to utilize their body, mechanics, foundation, fundamentals, all the things. They're just not using their body appropriately. They're taught to just get on the mound and throw, and get on the mound and snap and line it up or step straight or whatever. They're told to do something with their body versus understanding how the body sequences together, how it moves together, and it makes this fluid line that produces a maximum amount of speed. We talk about linear lines a lot, making sure that you push straight out in a straight line, not going from point A to point B to point C. You just want to go straight A to B right here. There's a lot of different things that can cause the body to lose speed. And what we try to do in the academy is make sure that you as a parent, pitching coach, travel coach, college coach, can see these things for yourself. So you see, hey, Carrie's talking about this. She's talking about maybe dropping the heel, not pushing out. How do we correct that? Well, here's the drill she tells you to do, and here's the things you're supposed to be looking for. So it helps you kind of move and utilize the program and move through the pitching motion and create this foundation that is just very stable and can produce a lot of momentum and energy through this stable body. Proper opening, closing, we address that just a little bit through acceleration and deceleration patterns. We talked about making sure that when you get out, the hip throws the arm, the hip throws the arm, the hip throws the arm. I just recently did a video on that on Instagram in the last week or so. You can see that video with me working through some kids to really get the trunk and the pelvis work together to create this massive amount of arm circle speed. I'm asked all the time, what are arm circle drills or what are speed drills that we can do? I don't really believe in them because I don't think manufacturing power through your body and trying to muscle a pitch is really going to get you into speed. The speed's really going to come from maximizing and using your body and how it naturally wants to move. So again, if you have any questions, I'll see them in a second. I don't know if Amber, if you see any. If not, I mean, we can hop off. But I will say this. I know that Amber's going to be sending out an email after this to you guys that has like a little buildable program with some drills so that you guys can make sure you're getting a good launch, a good push out, making sure you're landing in a stacked position and being able to feel that brush contact. So it's way more than just momentum and launch that we put in the program. We add some extra things. We're actually going to sell this program, but we're giving it away free for the next, is it 24 hours, I think? I can't remember.
Yes. So we're giving the program away for free if they join the academy. So they'll get a discount on the academy plus the free program. Like we haven't even released this in the academy. So it's a totally separate 4-week program, really working on this component of pitch. Okay.
So we have a code you're going to get. It's called Level Up. It's all caps. You can put that in. You can go to FastPitch.com, put it in. You're going to get a $10 off code. Plus, you will get this program that we put together for you guys to help to make sure that you're launching and you're loading correctly, and that once you land in this position, that you can create massive amounts of torque and power, and then throw to yourself or throw to a catcher. There's going to be drills that they can do on their own and drills they can do with a catcher. So I'm going to look at some questions. I thought I saw one or more come up. Hold on, chat. Yes, I am in McCalla, Alabama. It's close to Birmingham or Tuscaloosa. If you know where the University of Alabama is, I'm about 30 or 40 minutes from there. Do any of you guys have any questions? If you're in the academy, you can just give me a little thumbs up. You're in there. If you want to post a video in there, I can look at it and see if their launch and their angle is correct. We have an online chat there that you can upload videos, you can upload questions. And Amber and I are both in there answering questions and making sure you guys are on the right path. Also with the academy, we have a discounted virtual session or a video analysis. So you can hop in there and do the analysis to see where your problems are and troubleshooting. And then we can discuss what part of the foundational system is she lacking that's maybe hindering her from gaining speed. How do you join the academy? Maybe Amber can put like a little link to the academy in the chat, and then maybe the discount code, they can have that as well. Since you've signed up for this Zoom call, you will also get this all in an email as well. But like I said, we just did like a drill program for your bullpen for 4 weeks for you to be able to work on your launch angle, your load, making sure that you're landing in that loaded position to where you can get that arm circle speed. I love one of the drills that's throwing to yourself. Here comes my dog. It's learning to throw to yourself. And if you get that program, I even did it in college. One of the drills is just staying stacked, making sure that you open and use your hips to close, and it keeps the shoulder in. It helps them find brush contact and teaches them release point. It teaches them stability in their legs on the floor and helps them store and release power. I feel like that's one of my favorite drills because it is like, it's a fix-all. It's one drill that you can always do that's a fix-all, and they can do it with themselves. They do not have to have a catcher to do it. And then I also include it in the program where they do it to themselves. They throw the ball to themselves and then they throw it to the catcher so that they can keep that same positioning and then manufacture that throughout their pitch. I think one of the biggest questions I have is they can do the drills, but they can't ever implement them into the pitch. And that's one thing we've done in this program is make sure that they can utilize one, turn on, understand their muscles, understand glutes, glute bridges, hip extension. They learn how to do that first. Then it goes into how do they land. Then it goes into what are the drills they need to do once they land to stay in that stack position and store and release power. So I love it. It's just small, quick drills. I think there's like 6 drills. Those are 6 drills, Amber. And then we have them doing it 4 to 5 days a week, so many per week for 4 weeks. And then I think you'll see a huge difference. And then you can also go into the academy and do the IR program, internal rotation program that we have in there. And spend 6 to 12 weeks going through that foundation, and you'll see massive amounts of speed change. I've been able to see anywhere from 4 to 5 miles an hour in one day to like in 6 weeks. Most of my kids will gain speed when they come to me, just in a couple of weeks, just because of understanding how their body works and then how they're supposed to produce energy and force and be able to pitch with power versus trying to manufacture it from within with their manpower. So we just really wanted to get that out there because we had a lot of questions about that. And we wanted to be able, from our Instagram videos, they're like, well, why do you start here? You don't rock back or whatever. And so we wanted to be able to address and answer questions. So if you have a question about your daughter's like wind up or how she presents or whatever, you're more than welcome to hop in the academy and put that video in there, and then I can look at it and make sure it's right.
Hey, Carrie, I was going to add one more thing. Just a lot of questions that we've seen, I think, on social media and the Facebook groups and all different stuff is for so long people, and this might also still kind of fall more into separation, but how often people were taught to open to 90 degrees, like get your hips out, like get your hips out of the way. Can you talk just real quick, because I think this might be helpful for them a little bit more on why you don't want to go the full 90-degree open hips and how going forward in your launch really sets you up to not get into that 90-degree kind of slump off of, okay.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So a couple things, I'll back up a little bit. When they tend to open up early or open up all the way, you'll see in their launch, they start to twist and they want to open here to throw their hand up. And so they lost that first acceleration for the hips. Throw the hands up, just as if I'm trying to jump out in a broad jump. You want those hands and hips to go out and forward. And so what happens is when they start turning and opening, then you get this, the arm gets thrown around, the hips get, and so they get off time. So the hips already rotated. They miss the second acceleration point. And if they don't drag straight, they're going to miss the third acceleration point. So they've lost a lot of how they can gain power and speed. But opening and closing. So when they come out, you want to make sure the hips are, like I said, here, and then the hips open the hand. If they open early or open too much, say they land at a 90-degree angle, they open all the way to this 90-degree here, and their arms are at 90 degrees. So I'll turn this way. But this is no separation. So this is in the academy as well. You want to create separations from hip to shoulder, just like hitting. So from hitting, land, knee, hip, hip turns, hands stay back. That separation, keeping the hands behind the shoulder, behind the hip. Staying in position if I'm pitching is just like I'm hitting. So what's going to produce that power is going to be the same thing that produces arm work power. And so if they tend to open up and the shoulders open up, they have no separation. A lot of times they'll end up starting with their shoulder versus getting the hip to actually throw the hand down. So they're creating and storing energy in their shoulder, causes injury, but also they can only manufacture so much energy power to be able to throw. Versus if they keep that shoulder back, they get their sequence right, heel down, knee in, hip turn, they're storing energy through their core, and now they get into flexion and be able to whip that ball through. So they want to have that stability and hip power to throw the hand through versus getting open. Now, once we get open, our hip's going down, we start shifting the weight forward, and we can't get our hip through. And when we do get our hip through, it's way after the fact. And then they have the power. Also, when they land in that 90-degree angle and they have no separation, they're not stacked, just knee under, hip under, shoulder. So what happens is they have no stability in their core, and they injure their back. So when they're landing in this position, they have this arch in their back. This is how I herniated my L4, L5. I was landing like this with this arch back. And now that the hip's not leaving or rotating, you start pulling and turning on that firm foundation. And now you start hurting the lower back. So that's how we see a lot of broken backs and vertebrae, a lot of herniations. It's from opening up too much and having all that energy compressed. All that power compressed into their spine when they land, and then that quick twist through their spine versus the quick twist through their knee and hip. And now if they're in a, if they land with their knee down and their hip through and their separation, they have a really strong core, but also they have a straight spine and it's not arched. So there's a lot of things we can go into when we do in the academy. We explain it piece by piece, process by process, so that you guys can understand and know what to look for. But the biggest thing for opening and closing is the sequence is off, the shoulders are leading, and therefore it's going to have a lot of back pain, shoulder pain, and going to have a lot of loss in speed. That makes sense, Amber? Did I answer questions? So yeah, that's if you want to know more about that, that is in the separation guide 2, in the separation and sequence part of the foundational system. So I teach a lot from like science and physics. It's not when they come in and they learn a fastball. It's not that we're learning a fastball. We're learning how our body properly moves. The muscles we're actually supposed to be activating, what we're supposed to be feeling in our body, so that we can then turn around and get our body in the correct position, stable position to produce power. He is chasing something around the wall. Oh, there he goes. He's running back and forth. But go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go. Anyway, do you have any more questions?
I haven't seen anything else come through the
Okay.
chat, but we'll give y'all like a minute. So if you have a question, ask. Otherwise, we will call it. And this is being recorded. And so we will get that sent out, and I'll send it out with a link to the academy to you guys. And I'll have the discount code in there. So you'll kind of just have everything all in one place. And then you'll also get access to our program. The program is actually still uploading on our website. So if you do check out tonight and it doesn't email you the link to the program, just email us, and I'll make sure to go back and get that. Make sure you get that emailed over to you, because it's a 6-part video series of all like examples of the 6 drills. And then there's a PDF that kind of breaks down what the program is, as far as like your reps and sets and how often to complete, and then what your focal points are on in each drill. And then also, obviously, once you're in the academy, if you have questions, you can drop those in our academy chat, and Carrie can answer them. I can help answer them. And we also have some certified coaches in there that can help answer as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, just reach out. Say something on social media. I will answer you there on Facebook or Instagram. Current members of the academy get access to the new drills. Yes, we will eventually be uploading that into the foundational system programming. And then we'll also have a sequencing program as well that we're going to be putting in there as well.
Yeah. And if you're already in there, just shoot us an email at fosterfastpitchacademy@gmail.com. And you just say, hey, I was on the Zoom call already in the academy. Can you send me those drills as soon as you have them? And I can get those over to you. It might be a little bit longer before we actually get them in the academy, but I can send them to you through like a separate way. So
yeah. We like doing these small trainings so that people, when they want to get into the academy, but maybe don't know where to start, and they know this is where something they need, then they can get started with this like little program. and then go back and build upon the other programs. So we really like to make sure we have access to people that follow us, and we can just Zoom call with you guys and answer questions. And I know sometimes it's hard to watch all the things on Instagram and YouTube and decipher what's best for me. So we always like to make ourselves available when we can to be here and answer questions. So, all right, if that's it, thank y'all. Y'all have a good Sunday, and then I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.